This is the kind of family drama nobody sees coming. At my daughter's wedding, her new husband introduced me to his high-flying parents. The crowd chuckled, until his father locked eyes with me and froze. "You're the shadow billionaire who bought my firm. My name is Clara Bennett, but folks call me Clara. For 15 years, I mastered the art of blending into the background, a skill that prepared me for the storm ahead. My daughter Lily had been with Nathan for 9 months, and I'd met him only twice before the big day. Both times, he poked at my simple life and wondered aloud if I'd need help paying bills when I got older. He had no idea who he married into. The wedding was a spectacle, I'll give it that. The Harrington estate sprawled across 60 acres of Kentucky. Bluegrass with a stone chapel seating 400 and gardens that screamed old money. Lily glided down the aisle in a gown worth more than most folks' homes. Nathan beamed like I hadn't seen since his mother died. I picked my outfit with care, a modest teal dress from a local boutique paired with my mother's sapphire brooch. Nothing loud, nothing to turn heads. I learned long ago that staying private means looking like what people assume a widow scraping by on a teacher's pension and her late husband's savings. The ceremony was stunning, though I caught Nathan's mother, Diane, eyeing me like I was a mismatched chair in her perfect parlor. The reception, though, was where the masks slipped. The Harringtons went all out, crystal chandeliers, a string quartet, blooming roses everywhere. I sat at a quiet table watching my 30-year-old daughter dance with her groom when Nathan brought his parents over. "Mom, Dad," he said with a grin that grated my nerves, "I want you to meet Lily's mother." Then it happened. William Harrington's gaze pinned me like a spotlight. "Clara Bennett," he whispered, and just like that my cover vanished. "You're the one from the Harrington Enterprises deal 4 years back, the silent investor who bought my company." William's words sliced through the chatter like a blade. Lily's smile faltered as she glanced between us, her confidence crumbling into shock. Diane's emerald earrings glinted as she touched her throat, her mind clearly racing. Most folks don't recognize true wealth. They expect yachts and couture, private jets and gaudy shows. They don't picture a woman in a tasteful dress shopping at regular stores, driving a practical SUV. That's what I banked on for 15 years. It began with my late husband David's invention, a tiny chip that boosted laptop battery life. We were teachers turned tinkerers in Seattle in the early 2000s. When David patented his design in 2011, we thought we'd secured a cozy retirement. We never dreamed it was a jackpot. The patent sold in 2013 for $30 million. Lily was 22, fresh from her journalism degree, full of plans to carve her own path. That day, David and I chose a path that defined the next decade. We told Lily we got a decent windfall, enough to live well, but nothing wild. She never pressed further, likely guessing a few $100,000 at most. What she didn't know was that $30 million was just the start. David and I invested wisely, starting with safe bonds, then tech firms, as we studied the game property in growing cities, startups with promise. David had a knack for spotting gems before the crowd. By his death in 2019, our wealth topped $900 million. That's the fortune I used to buy Harrington Enterprises 3 years later. The twist was poetic. While Nathan smirked at my frugal ways, I was the mystery buyer who rescued his father's sinking ship, a company William nearly tanked with reckless loans and bad calls, forcing a sale to what he thought was a faceless conglomerate. That conglomerate was my creation. I didn't buy it for spite, but because its foundation was strong despite William's errors. With new leadership, it soared. The man whose son mocked me as a family burden had been banking on my moves for years. "I'm sorry," I said softly, meeting William's eyes. "I think you've got the wrong person." But we both knew the truth. I saw it in his stare, recalling that boardroom where I sat quietly letting my attorneys steer. He barely noticed me then, thinking I was just a tag-along wife. Now, with Lily gaping in horror, my secret fortress was cracking. The next day, I was in my small condo sipping tea from a chipped mug as Lily stormed in like a whirlwind. She'd called at dawn demanding answers I wasn't ready to give. I hadn't slept, replaying William's shock and Lily's panic. "Mom, what the hell happened last night?" Lily said, pacing my rug like a trapped fox. "William cornered me after you slipped out, asking about Mom's old projects and your money moves. I'd left early feigning fatigue. Really, I needed space. 15 years of secrecy shattered in one night, and I was reeling." Lily wasn't like David. He was calculated, she was raw and fiery. "What did he ask exactly?" I said, though I knew. "About Mom's patents, if you'd made big deals, our family's real worth." She stopped and stared with David's green eyes. "He thinks you're some finance mogul." It was bizarre. My tea turned sour. This was the talk I'd dreaded. Lily had built her career as a magazine editor through grit and talent. She'd bought her condo with years of hustle, lived simply because she thought that's what we valued. How could I tell her that while she grinded for promotions I could buy her publisher without blinking, that while she saved for her place, I managed a fortune rivaling a nation's budget? Lily, sit, I said softly, we need to talk. But my phone pinged, a text from Nathan. Clara, lunch today. Lily and I have things to discuss. I showed Lily her face shifting from fury to worry. What's he want? She asked. I had a guess. Nathan wasn't one to let mysteries lie, especially with dollars at stake. He'd likely spent the night pumping his father and was ready to probe. How much did William really recall from that one meeting? Your husband's sharper than we thought, I said carefully. Then Lily's phone rang. Nathan's name glowed. She answered, and I heard his voice smooth and fake cheerful. Lily, babe, let's all do lunch. I want to talk family stuff with your mom now that we're one big happy clan. When she hung, Lily eyed me like she did as a teen when she sensed I was hiding something. Mom, what aren't you telling me about our money? Outside my window, folks hurried to jobs with ordinary stress about emails and commutes. I envied that ease. Everything, I said at last. I need to tell you everything. Nathan was already at the bistro 30 minutes early, seated at a prime table, when Lily and I arrived. He'd chosen the priciest spot in town with a river view. His dark hair was slick, and he wore a suit I'd seen in a fashion spread. Clara, Lily, thanks for coming, he said, leaping up to hug us. His smile was wide, but his brown eyes sized up my plain gray dress and simple scarf. I ordered a $1,200 burgundy to toast our new family. He was setting the stage. Lovely, I said, sitting though a bit much for a quick bite. No, nothing's quick about family now, Clara, he replied, his grin unwavering. Last night I had a long talk with Dad about his deals. He shared wild tales of takeovers and ghost investors. Lily glanced between us, catching the undercurrent. Nathan, what's this about? She asked. He ignored her eyes on me. Clara, I went to Stanford for business. I'm obsessed with finance, especially layered investments and front companies. Dad said the buyer of Harrington Enterprises was eerily discreet. I sipped my wine and waited. Discreet investors usually hide big money they don't want public, Nathan went on. Sounds smart, I said evenly. He leaned in like sharing a secret. Dad recalled a woman at the signing, quiet, poised, letting lawyers talk, but with the air of a decision maker. Lily was now staring at me like puzzle pieces were clicking. Mom. Before I could speak, Nathan slid his phone over, showing an article from 4 years back about the Harrington sale with a grainy photo. Tucked among suits was a woman in a teal dress, face half hidden. Bad resolution, Nathan said casually, but the stance, the height, the way she holds her bag, it's uncanny. Clara's silence hung as Lily studied the image, recognition sparking. I admired Nathan's digging but felt my walls of secrecy tremble. Odd coincidence, I said at last. Sure, Nathan's smile sharpened. Coincidences like my family's money woes hitting just as someone paid $800 million for Dad's firm, or that investor vanishing like she craved anonymity. Lily set her glass down hard. Mom, tell me he's wrong. I looked at my daughter, raised to prize truth and effort, and knew my 15 years of careful lies were collapsing. Lily, I never told you about your mother's patents or our investments. Nathan's smugness radiated, but as he savored his supposed win, I wondered if he grasped what he'd stirred. 4 days later, I sat in my advisor's sleek office as Margaret Hayes flipped through the files I'd requested. The lunch with Lily and Nathan ended with my daughter bolting in rage after I admitted the truth and her husband hinting at family money talks. Now I needed clarity on the fight ahead. Clara, this is bold, Margaret said, peering over her glasses at the Harringtons' financials. Why the deep dive on your son-in-law's kin? I'd called her post-lunch for a full report on their money. What I learned was messier than expected. I didn't know buying Harrington Enterprises meant owning my future son-in-law's legacy. Margaret's brows shot up. Your son-in-law, the one married to Lily? I nodded and she whistled. That's a tangle. You don't say. She opened files on her screen. Here's the breakdown. In 2020, Harrington Enterprises was drowning in debt from William's 2018 buying spree. When markets tightened, they couldn't pay. I recall that deal, a savvy buy of a strong firm, at a steal due to a cash crunch. What did the family expect then? Records show Nathan was groomed as William's successor. He interned there, got his MBA in family firms, and bragged he'd run it someday. It clicked in a bad way. So when I took over and installed pros, I killed his future. Worse, you stole his birthright. Margaret pulled another file. This is juicy. I've tracked queries into your holdings, someone's sniffing shell companies and hidden owners. My gut twisted. What kind of expert stuff? Someone with finance chops and legal ties. She spun her monitor. Clara, your son-in-law hired a pie. The stakes hit hard. 15 years of ironclad secrecy could unravel if someone pushed. How exposed are we? Your setup's tight, but not bulletproof. A driven probe with court muscle could trace you. I pictured Nathan's lunch performance, his checkmate reveal. Advice: get in front of it. If he's angling for money or family duty, you control the story before he outs you. Margaret paused. But Clara, if this blows up, Lily's career could tank if folks think her rise tied to secret wealth she never knew. I hadn't thought of that. Lily's success was hers alone. If my secret painted her as a nepo kid, it could ruin her. One more thing, Margaret said, opening a final file. The Harringtons are shakier than they seem. They're living on loans, betting on William's next deal, or Nathan marrying rich. And now he thinks he did. Exactly. But if he's pushing for cash or a stake in your empire, be ready. This is bigger than a family spat. Leaving her office, I faced the choice David and I made 15 years back, only now the cost was steeper. I wasn't just guarding Lily's freedom, I was defending all I'd built from my own kin. That night, I uncorked a vintage David and I poured a glass and spread 15 years of records on my table. If Nathan wanted to snoop, he'd learn he picked the wrong foe. The numbers showed discipline. David and I didn't fluke into wealth. We studied, diversified, reinvested. $30 million, hit $60 million by 2016. $250 million by 2019. Post-David, I grew it past $900 million. I held stakes in 15 firms, licensed 20 technologies, backed green energy to med. I wasn't just rich, I shaped innovation in ways Margaret barely knew. My phone buzzed. Lily, Mom, Nathan and I want to come tomorrow. He has thoughts on our family's new reality. I smirked. Thoughts, likely trusts and boards to tap my funds. He didn't get I'd managed power longer than he'd been scheming. I opened Margaret's Harrington files. Their estate was 85% mortgaged, accounts bled dry, propping their image post-sale. William's income, consulting gigs I set up via my firm's new bosses. Their life leaned on me. Then I dug into Nathan's moves. A pie firm tracking assets, a lawyer in estate battles, new credit lines, betting on a windfall. He didn't just wed Lily for love, he saw a payday. The wine loosened truth. I'd played the quiet widow, building an empire in shadows. But Nathan's wedding stunt ended that. I was sick of being dismissed. Done with it. Tomorrow, when Lily brought her husband to pitch their money plan, I'd school them on who they'd challenged. Clara Bennett, the low-key investor, was becoming Clara Bennett, the calculated rival. I'd won battles for 15 years folks never knew were fought. Lily and Nathan arrived the next evening, like envoys to a summit. I set out crackers and a $30 wine, nothing flashy. Mom, thanks for hearing us, Lily said, wary. These days have been rough. Nathan wore a crisp blazer, his Stanford polish clear in his folder and poised seat. Clara, this is all for family, Nathan said. We're in this together. I stifled a laugh. Sure, what's on your mind? He opened his folder, showing slick papers. I've reflected on lunch. We started wrong. I proposed teaming up on family finances. Nathan has plans to align us all, Lily said, uneasy. Family wealth thrives with strategy across generations, Nathan said. Lily and I thought a setup, guarding your privacy but adding clarity. There it was. I sipped and waited. A family foundation for charity, tax breaks, coordinated investments. He slid a draft. I've spoken with a wealth lawyer. The gall stunned me. He learns I'm loaded and drafts ways to grab it. Thorough, I said. What's the startup cash? His eyes gleamed. Something impactful, say $60 million to gain clout. $60 million, from the woman he called a family joke days ago. And the board, I asked. How's voting work? Equal, say 3 trustees, 3 votes fair, Nathan said. I set my glass down and met his gaze. Nathan, honest question. Do you love my daughter? He blinked, thrown. Lily looked at him, then me. What's that mean? Simple. Do you love Lily, or what marrying her gets you? Tension choked the room. Lily fidgeted. Nathan's cool frayed. That's unfair framing, Nathan said. Is it? I rose, grabbed a folder from my shelf and sat. This might help. I showed Margaret's report. His face blanched at familiar names. Your emails to Delgado Investigations past 3 weeks, I said calmly. Pricey work tracing owners. Lily gaped. Nathan, you hired pies. It's not that, Nathan stammered. I wanted family finance clarity. You built a case, I said. You also met Crane and Ellis, estate dispute experts. I slid another page. 3 new loans last month, betting on family wealth. Bold Nathan crumbled. Clara, I was protecting us. Who's us? I laid more files. Your parents' estate 85% mortgaged, accounts drained since William lost his firm. His income, my arranged contracts. Lily scanned pages, shock turning to betrayal. Mom, how do you know this? Because Lily, when you poke me, I poke back. Your husband's family's been coasting on my dime 3 years. Nathan's voice shook. We're family, we should unite. Right, I said, rising to the window. So, what's your work? You learned I'm rich and planned to control it, not earn it. That's not true, Nathan said. Isn't it? I pulled a final paper. Call with your frat buddy a month before meeting Lily. You said you're done with broke guys, want stable wealth. Silence crushed the room. Lily stared at Nathan like he was a stranger. Lily, I said softly, ask if the man you married is real. But I knew this was just round one. Nathan wouldn't quit, and I'd shown the prize. What now? Lily asked quietly. I looked at my daughter, raised on truth and grit, and chose. Now we see who's who. The next weeks were a cold standoff. Lily crashed at her condo saying she needed space. Nathan left my place vowing a fight, and he delivered. Trouble hit when Margaret called Friday, tight-voiced. Clara, someone's querying the SEC on your holdings, claiming ownership issues, insider trades, shell company flaws. My heart sank. How bad? Your setup's clean but complex, looks shady to feds. A formal filing means years of probes, even if cleared. Jessica's work, I knew. Advice? End this fast. Family fights, fuel regulators. My phone rang. Lily, Mom, we gotta talk. She showed up haggard. Nathan filed separation. His lawyer cites risks from hidden assets, clever shielding himself for divorce talks. I'm sorry, Lily. Are you? Her eyes held hurt, not rage. You wanted my marriage dead to prove her wrong. That cut deep. Lily, I wanted you to see him before it was too late. By tanking his family and spying like a crook, she snapped. I don't know you. I stood firm. I'm the mom who taught you honesty, not handouts. And my marriage is collateral, she said. Lily, Nathan's hitting regulators to force my hand. She stared. What's that mean? It means choose, are you with me, or letting him burn what I built for us? Silence. Then Lily nodded faintly. What do I do? The showdown was in Margaret's conference room. Me, Lily, Nathan, his lawyer, Paul Crane, William, and Diane. The air crackled. Let's cut to it, Paul said, slick in his suit. My client learned Mrs. Bennet hid vast wealth, while his family struggled a pattern of deceit, needing scrutiny. Margaret, cool, beside me, said Mr. Crane. Mrs. Bennet's finances are legal. Your client's sec tips reek of spite. Nathan leaned in. This is about family duty. Clara, you played puppet master, hiding as a nobody. I spoke. Nathan, I never pulled strings. I saved firms, made them grow. I chose privacy. Neither's a crime. You bought Dad's company. Let him think he failed. Nathan spat. William failed, I said. I saved jobs. His firm would have died in months. William cleared his throat. Clara, you helped but hid your role in our lives. Strategic, not shady. I said. You never asked. Paul slid a fat folder. Mrs. Bennet, you leveraged wealth to control consulting payments, deal timings, even probing my client. Control what? Margaret said. Power over their future, Paul claimed. I scanned the room, folks blind to the board they'd stepped on. Mr. Crane, I don't control them. I don't owe cash or truths or my empire. But you owe Lily honesty. Nathan cut in. Respect to your son-in-law. Respect. I said. Icecomb, you called me a family shame hired P. Is filed sec complaints for a payout. Now you preach respect. Silence roared. Lily spoke. Nathan, what do you want to end this? He eyed Paul, then me. A family finance pact, clear roles. What roles? Margaret asked. Paul showed papers. A trust with shared control. Mrs. Bennet funds $20 million run by a family council for all. I nearly laughed. My money in a trust you'd vote on, with folks suing me. Fair for all, Nathan said. I rose to the window, watching normal lives below. Counteroffer, I said, facing them. Nathan, 48 hours to drop sec claims, end probes. I'll pay $6 million one time. You and your parents keep your lifestyle. No more contact with me or Lily. Stunned silence. Mom, Lily whispered. I was dead serious, offering $6 million to cut poison from our lives. $6 million, Nathan echoed to ditch Lily. Yes, Paul calculated fast. $6 million beat any lawsuit, no legal gamble. Mrs. Bennet that aims to split a marriage, not fix it, Paul said. The marriage was split, I said. I'm paying for a clean cut. Lily stood. Stop, all of you. This is nuts. Bartering my marriage like a deal, wasn't it? I asked softly. She faced Nathan, voice breaking. Did you marry me for love or money? Silence stretched a minute. Nathan, that's unfair, he said. It's everything. I watched Lily as no answer came. In that quiet 15 years of secrecy and sacrifice became one truth. $6 million, I said to Nathan, plus your parents keep their home William His gigs. Sign and leave my family. If not, I smiled real this time. You get zero, lose the house, the income, face lawsuits costing more than you'd ever gain. Paul whispered to Nathan, math clear, cash now or years of loss. I need a day, Nathan said. Noon tomorrow or the deal's dead. Post-meeting, Lily stayed. Mom, you bought my freedom. No love, I gave you truth to choose. If he takes it, you'll know who he was, and he'll. If not, you'll know, and I'll ensure he regrets it. Lily's eyes mixed awe and unease. When did you get so fierce? Always, Lily, just waiting for a reason. At 11:52 a.m., Paul called. Margaret, deal accepted. By 4 p.m., papers signed, $6 million sent. Nathan took the cash and faded. Lily filed divorce days later. 7 months on, she called Saturday. Mom, I met someone. Mia, she's a nurse. No clue, you're loaded. How's that? I said, my mom's got a cozy condo, a solid car. She said, that's a woman with her head on straight. I grinned, tension easing. Sounds ideal. When's dinner? Next week. But mom be the mom who taught me heart and hustle, leave the tycoon home. I laughed. After 15 years of hiding, I knew privacy wasn't invisibility. Done, but if she's got a pie, the invite's off. Deal, Lily said, her smile in her voice. The future glowed like I'd always hoped. My true wealth wasn't accounts but choice. How to live my days, my name. I sold the condo to many echoes, moved to Asheville, drawn to its mountains and music. There I was, Clara, sipping coffee at markets, chatting with painters. I launched a quiet fund for young inventors, the David Grant no fanfare aiding. Seattle and Denver kids with big ideas but no means. Seeing their gadgets shine globally beat any profit. Rumors of my wealth died. Asheville saw me as the woman in a green scarf at dawn service, handing out meals. I loved that chosen simplicity. Lily and I mended slowly. Stiff talks gave way to ease. Meeting Mia sealed it. She hugged me, asking no balance sheets, just saying, Lily's empathy comes from you. Christmas filled my table with real joy. No pretenses, just pie cider, off-key songs. I stayed up by the tree knowing David would love our unmasked family. Nathan crosses my mind sometimes. With $6 million he'll scheme elsewhere, but that's not my burden. I can't save all, and won't carry those who see me as a vault. My days are clay classes, coffee with neighbors, trips for local causes. No guards, no vaults, just peace you can't buy. Stopping my disguise freed me. I'm not scared of my fortune being known because numbers don't make me. How I use them to lift others does. A kid from the David Grant teared up last spring. Clara, without you, I'd be hauling crates. Now I'm at MIT with my prototype that closed the Harrington saga. In my 60s, in a town of pine and poetry, judged by my heart, not my bank, I learned life wants authenticity, not perfection. If I'm ever called a family shame again, I've got my line. The real shame is chasing clout when you could leave a legacy. This tale's fiction but echoes truth. Names and places shifted to shield the real. We share, not to judge, but to spark thought. How many parents suffer quietly at home? If you were me, would you stay silent for peace or fight to be heard? Tell me your story, lights another's path. Blessings always, courage brings brighter tomorrows. The end screen check to fan favorite tales, they'll stun you. Thanks for sticking with me. If you're watching this, please hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me where my tale of triumph has reached. I need to know how far it's spread.